What's up, guys? Bailey here. So I had to take down my hardest hitters video for copyright reasons. I actually got a copyright strike. Um, Apparently UFC doesn't like it when I try to use their stuff, even though that's what this channel is about. But without further ado, let's get right into it for my UFC 318 main card breakdown and predictions. So yeah, guys, let's get right into it. I'm not even gonna waste your guys' time, man. So first off, we got Michael Johnson versus Daniel Sahuber. I think this is going to be a really good fight. I really like Michael Johnson. I think he's got, he's a veteran. He's got KO ability. He's not powerful because I think that is different. I think having power, being powerful, and having KO ability are all different things because you can knock out someone while being technical. And that's what Michael Johnson is. He's a veteran. He's been in this game for a long time. He's been a ranked or ranked, unranked, like gatekeeper lightweight for a while now. But we got Daniel Zellhuber, who I think is just super duper tough. He just got out of a war. Even though his last fight was a loss, he is young. And I think that he's longer, faster, better overall physically. And I really think that Daniel Zellhuber is going to win this fight. I just kind of don't see how Michael Johnson really wins this fight. Maybe on the feet, he might catch Daniel and knock him out with something. But I feel like that is like Michael Johnson's like ultimate ability. Like once he pops his ult, like of let me get a knockout after I lose like 2-3 fights. I feel like that's just kind of what he is. So I feel like Daniel Zellhuber is definitely going to pick up the win on this one. Next, we got the real G. We got Dan Ige, man, versus Patricio Pitbull. To be honest, I really think Dan Ige is gonna win, man. He's lighter, he's more technical. You take those things. It's basically lighter man's skill. Patricio's just not really in his prime. He's just not really in his prime. Now people want to say, well, oh, he knocked out Michael Chandler. That was ages ago, and they're both really not in their prime anymore. I think Dan Ige is gonna win this one pretty clean. I see it going really a decision, a lot like with Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber. Let me just go back to this one real quick. I think the only way that this fight is going to end, if it does end, is by Michael Johnson knocking out Daniel Zellhuber. But that ain't going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And same with this one. I do feel like Dan Ige could drop Patricio with something. I feel like he could catch him with some volume strikes. But I think at the end of the day, it's just going to go to the distance. I think it's going to go to a decision. And I think Dan Ige is probably just going to outclass Patricio Pitbull virtually everywhere, right? I mean, like I said, he's not really in his prime anymore, and he's coming from the same era as like these Michael Chandlers, all these guys. And yeah, I think Dan Ige is going to beat him. Next, we got Mr. 4570, Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Both guys coming off of a win. Daniel Rodriguez getting a 5-piece knockout. He's got real quick hands, but he's not nearly as well-rounded. I haven't really seen anything of his grappling game. He does have super quick hands, but then also it's kind of the same for Holland, right? Like his hands are good, but they're not great. They're not anything real awesome. It's his grappling that is very high level. It's, and I used to say, listen, it's underrated. That's because no one really talked about it. But now I got to say it's pretty high level. He's very active along with Daniel Rodriguez. But I think that's going to lean more towards Kevin Holland because that's what his legacy is. That's what he's made himself out to be, is a guy who will fight anybody at any time. And he's always active. And he's just always ready to take on a challenge. And with that being said, I got Kevin Holland by submission. I think he's going to tap out Daniel Rodriguez within the first 2 rounds. I think Daniel Rodriguez is going to try to go for a knockout, or I think he's just going to try to volume strike Holland, and I think it's going to end up in something messy. And I really do think that Kevin Holland is just going to bring him down to the ground and get that finish. So next, we got Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. Hit a checkpoint there, real ones know. Anyways, Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, right? Now, Paulo Costa, very experienced, very battle-hardened, but he pulls out quicker than, Nick Cannon could take some notes from his pull-out game, okay? Because this motherfucker is the definition of a pull-out merchant. People want to say, oh, Cody Garbrandt, pull-out merchant. Oh, Armin Sarukian pulled out. That was one fucking fight. This guy, he was supposed to be in 317. This fight was supposed to happen already, and it didn't happen. Paulo Costa's losing. Thank you very much. Roman Kopylov is going to break him down. piece by piece, very, very artistically and slow. And I think he's just going to make a masterclass of Paulo Costa. He's not been active. He hasn't fought whatever since Strickland, which was a long time ago. And Roman Kopylov has just been torching dudes, knocking them out, dropping them. I mean, man, what he did to Chris Curtis was impressive. And even before that, just how lightning, quick his kicks are just so impressive. And I really think that he's faster than Costa. I think that he's more technical than Costa. And quite frankly, I don't see where this fight goes. Maybe on the ground he'll have some kind of advantage, but outside of that, I don't know where this goes. Where like Costa's going to win. So I have Kopylov by I think decision. I don't know if he's going to necessarily finish Paulo Costa, but if he does, it's coming with a head kick for sure. All right, guys. Now we got the main event. We got Dustin the Diamond Poirier in his retirement fight against Max, the Pride of Hawaii Holloway, for the third time, their trilogy. And this is a full circle moment for both guys here. And there's a lot of history behind this fight because when Max Holloway made his UFC debut, Dustin Poirier was the first guy to greet him out the door. So now it's, very, very poetic to see that now that Dustin Poirier is hanging the hat up and he's leaving, that Max Holloway gets to kind of, I guess, have the opportunity to retire him. And there's a lot going into this fight. I mean, people want to say, well, oh, Dustin beat him twice. Really, the first fight, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but it kind of doesn't count. I mean, it was so long ago that they were two completely different fighters. I mean, we're talking 12 years ago, 11 years ago. I mean, we're talking over a decade ago. And it was by submission. Really the second fight is the one we need to look at because that is the most modernized version of both fighters. I think that what Holloway needs to do, if he wants to beat Dustin Poirier, I think he needs to use his volume and his high output constantly. There's been times where Dustin has succumbed to pressure. Like, for example, Justin Gaethje, Islam Makhachev. There was guys where it was constant pressure, and you can crack Dustin. I'm not saying you'll break him. You can never break Dustin. But with high volume and output, it definitely gives anybody a harder time to get anything off, especially a guy like Dustin, where if you just give him nothing but, room to move around and do his thing, he will box your head off. He will box you up like an Amazon package. And that's not even a joke. Now, with Dustin Poirier, what does he need to do, right? What does he have going into this fight? His last fight, potentially, or that's what he's saying. His last fight, what does he need to do to beat Holloway? Well, one, he is way more powerful, and I think we all know that. If you guys haven't seen the second fight, I highly suggest you go watch it. As a matter of fact, go watch it, because why are you here if you haven't watched the second fight? Like, honestly. And the power differentiation is very, very apparent. It's very obvious. It's very big. Every single time Max got hit by Dustin, he wore it and he reacted to it. And I think that also Dustin Poirier has more momentum. I mean, if we're looking at, they both came off losses, but two fights were completely different. Like, Dustin's was like a back and forth war, and like, it could have been any man's fight, and then at the end, it was a scrap, gets his ankle thrown over him, and gets a Darce choked on, and goes out when he taps out. That was a war. Holloway was winning, beating Ilya, debatably, and then gets knocked out cold. And, he was on a weight cut. We don't really know where Holloway's at in his mindset. And to be honest with you, it seems like he's not very much focused on this fight. He's talking about wanting to fight Ilya Topuria, talking about Ilya Topuria's wins are overrated. And even if they are, that doesn't matter. Because Dustin Poirier's not talking about anybody else. He's talking about one guy. And that's Max. Dustin's very focused. And I don't know where Max's headspace is at. I don't know where he is. But he does not seem focused on this fight. And I think for that reason, and just also because it's Dustin, I think Dustin's going to win. I think that he's going to beat Max Holloway. And if he doesn't get it from the decision, I think he might knock him out in the 4th or 5th round. People want to say, well, Holloway's going to beat him. The volume is high output. It's too much. Dustin is better overall. I think that, he's beat him twice. Holloway, just listen now, even though he is a former champion and he's debatably one of the greatest featherweights of all time, if you just want to go, I think, resume for resume, right? Like Dustin Poirier's resume, you could say it slightly edges out Holloway. And also, it's like Dustin Poirier is the greatest fighter to never win a championship. Hands down, period. There's no debate about it. He beat guys like Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. I mean, just the list of champions go on and on and on of guys he's beat. And I think that at the end of the day, shine bright like a diamond. I think Dustin's going to come out with the win. And guys, those are my predictions for UFC 318. I think that this is actually going to be a pretty good card. A lot of people saying, just because it didn't have name value, that it wasn't going to be that great. And I disagree. Get the fuck out of here if you're a casual, because we don't like that around here. You know what I mean? But yeah, guys, so this is my prediction for 318. Stay tuned for some more content. I'm going to start doing more fighting content. Also doing a top 15 pound for pound rankings list of all time for me, because I know Lucas Tracy made a video and it's not popular at all. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and also some vlog content I have with my camps. I have a fight coming up. So yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next video when I ever make one.